is Black History Month here in the UK, and as promised, I'm going to give you guys a bunch of recommendations of books by Black authors that you can go and pick up right now, especially if you want to start reading more diversely. This is the perfect time to start. I spoke in one of my videos about how disappointed I was when I went to Waterstones in my city, and they basically had nothing to rep Black History Month, like nothing saying, here are a few books by Black authors that you can read. Yes, 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 they have books by Black authors, but they didn't specifically point out, it is Black History Month. Here are books you can read and pick up, books that are just coming out, something to really say, we are specifically honoring and celebrating Black History Month. So today, I'm going to give you over 100 and I believe 40, basically over 100 book recommendations that you can go and hunt down right now and pick up and read in honor and support of Black History Month. Now, if you've been on my channel or if you've even seen me on TikTok, you know that I mainly read fantasies and thrillers, and so obviously they're probably going to make up the bulk of this list, but I do read other genres as well. So I have tried to really diversify the recommendations that I can give you. But let's be honest, in other genres, in other categories, it will probably be like 2 or 3 books, 4 or 5, something like that. And then when we get to thrillers and fantasy, it's gonna be like a good 80. And you know what? That's fine. But at least there might be something here that you're looking for. And like I said, it's a variety of books that you can read. So do be sure to, obviously, you can scroll. I'm going to make sure I have my timestamp so that you can go by genre and see what books you can pick up and you can read. Now, one thing I am not going to do this time around is give you like the descriptions or reviews of books, because like I said, it is like 140 books. I am not going to be able to give you a review of every single one of those books. And also, some of these books I have not personally read, but they are on my list, or I have started reading and I've just not completed reading them. And so really it's a case of a lot of these books are, yes, books I have read, but also books I've gotten recommendations from. And usually if I've gotten a recommendation from someone who I trust their reviews, I will buy the book. Okay. And if the book really just has an interesting premise, I'm going to buy the book. But really right now, what we're going to do, I'm going to tell you what category that the book falls in, and then I'm going to say the book's name and then the book's author, and then we're going to keep it pushing. So hopefully this is one of my shorter videos. I know I said that last time and we were here for like 30 minutes. I'm sorry. But this time around, that's what I'm going to do. Obviously, that didn't happen. Oh well. I might put through a few comments here and there depending on the book, like especially if the book is very, very like sentimental to me or it's one of my faves. But for the most part, I'm just going to introduce the genre, then say the books in that genre and keep it pushing. So hopefully this video will be like 15 minutes, and then maybe in the future we can give longer reviews for books that maybe you guys are interested in and put in the comments. But it's been a long introduction. Let's get straight into it. Obviously, I do not know every single one of these books by head, like 140. I'm not going to remember all of that. And so I obviously have it written down here, so I probably won't be looking at you for most of this video. So do forgive me for the lack of eye contact today, but we got to do what we got to do, right? Okay, so get your pens and papers out, get online. It's time to go and buy some Black books. Let's get into it. So the first category here is biography, autobiography, and memoirs, because obviously they're around the same thing. So first is A Knock at Midnight by Brittany K. Barnett. One of my favorites. It will make you cry. The next is Left to Tell by Immaculée Ilibagiza. I never want to butcher people's names, but I'm not the best. So yeah, I am going to say forgive me for later on if I butcher any of these names. But yes, it is about genocide, so trigger warning, but it is about like survival in the fight. And honestly, it's so, so beautiful. Again, you'll probably cry. The next is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. One of my favorite books. He's an amazing storyteller. Honestly, loved it so much. Next, Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela. Honestly, he did so much for South Africa and it's still impacting people today. Definitely go and pick it up. Next, the autobiography of Malcolm X as told by Alex Haley. This one was, I think, super interesting. I know I'm giving a lot of comments. I'm so sorry, but I feel like for autobiographies and memoirs, you kind of have to. But yeah, I thought the storytelling in this one was really, really good and really interesting. And the last in this category is Around the Way Girl by Taraji P. Henson. I thought it was inspiring. And I thought, you know what? She's a boss babe and I love her. But yeah, that's all that I currently have to give you. Now, I definitely have read more autobiographies, more memoirs, more biographies, but I need to read more by Black people. So that's even a challenge to me. But these are like 6 that I have that I think are absolutely amazing that you should definitely pick up. Like, I've actually read these. So these ones, I can tell you for sure, these are good. Go and pick them up. For those of you who don't know, I'm a devout Christian and my faith is very, very important to me. So I do have a few books, that speak on faith. So if that's something that you are interested in, do be sure to pick these up. I have quite a few books of faith, but once again, I really need to read more by Black authors. That says something on me, but definitely, let's get into it now. So first, Don't Settle for Safe by Sarah J. Roberts. I really resonate with this because I felt like she was basically living my life half the time. Next, And We Are Changed by Priscilla Shirer. She's one of my favorite teachers, one of my favorite preachers. I love her so much, and she's absolutely a great writer. Next, Life Interrupted by Priscilla Shirer. Once again, she's one of my favorites, so of course I have a bunch of her here. Next, God is Able by Priscilla Shirer. Like I said, I've read quite a few of her books and I absolutely love her. Next, Discerning the Voice of God by Priscilla Shirer. Like, if you are struggling or trying to figure out how you can really hear the voice of God, I thought this was really good because I felt like it was very practical and also very relatable. So absolutely amazing. Next, Fervent. Now, this is literally a prayer guide, but I didn't know this when I bought the book. I thought it was more so like her telling us about prayer, but no, she tells us about prayer, but then she also gives instructions. She gives us guides. Like, it's literally a case of put the book down. This is what you're going to do, and I absolutely loved it. It took me by surprise, but I loved it regardless. Next, and this is the final book by Priscilla Shirer, I Surrender All. It is a recent release, and it's truly, once again, I tell you, she's a great speaker and a great writer, great teacher, so do pick it up. Next, we have Holier Than Thou by Jackie Hill Perry. She is another teacher that I absolutely love. I think the way that she articulates herself in such with such reverence for God, and honestly just also still in a relatable way, I think it's absolutely beautiful. Next, Jackie Hill Perry also has a Jude study guide. So if you are looking for a nice, succinct, in-depth study guide for a book that is actually quite short, then there you go. Like, Jude is absolutely such a beautiful book, even though it's very, very short. And then she goes in depth, which is super, super, super cool that she can do that. Next, also by Jackie Hill Perry, is Upon Waking. You know what, guys? Like I said, she's one of my favorites, and I think the way that she really just speaks about God and tells you about him and allows you to learn, absolutely amazing. So definitely go and pick up Upon Waking. Next, we're going to speak about her husband, Preston Perry, and he wrote Everyday Evangelism. Now, if you're a Christian, you know that evangelism is probably one of the scariest things you can do because expressing your faith is absolutely terrifying. Like, quite a lot of the time, it's absolutely terrifying. And we've seen Preston go on the street and actually evangelize, and so seeing him put that in a book, I was just like, okay, we need this. Next is How to Tell the Truth by Preston Perry. Now, this book I thought was very, very raw, but also very challenging as well. And so I was just like, okay, this one, talk about power couple. But yeah, that is the end of our faith section. Okay, so we've already done 2 genres. I think I'm on a roll and I'm very, very happy. Let's get into it. Let's continue. Next is really just a standard nonfiction book, and I only really have one book in this category, even though obviously a few of these books are nonfiction. But I kind of just put this as kind of just strict nonfiction, and that is A Colorful View from the Top. And this is actually a very interesting book because it is a collection of 21 voices and the advice that they have given, because these are people who have achieved quite a lot, who have done quite a lot, and they're giving advice on advice that they would want to be told, that they would want to hear when striving for success. Literally A Colorful View from the Top. And it's curated by Jonathan Mildenhall. So, you know what? I remember reading this book and I thought it was so relatable as, a Black woman. There was a variety of people there that had accomplished a variety of things in different industries and different spaces. And they had, they had gotten into these spaces and they had taken it by storm. And so it was so beautiful. And it was so great to hear what they had to say. And it was encouraging me as well. So definitely 100% go and pick that up. I know I said I wasn't going to be doing commentary, but some of these books require commentary, okay? So I had to. I'm so sorry. I'm going to try my best to stop doing this. let's keep going. Okay, so we're going to the next genre now, and the next genre is poetry and kind of like in prose writing. And if you know me, you know that I genuinely love poetry. I'm just like, whether it's, a few lines or like a full whole page of poetry, the way that certain authors can convey feelings, emotions, life, and their unique way, and like such a poetic way. Oh, guys, I melt. And so here are a few of my favorite books when it comes to poetry. Now, these books I've actually, I believe, all read. I don't know about the in prose books, but for the poetry books, I've read all of these. And Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. I don't think anyone could do a poetry recommendation and not recommend Maya Angelou. She has obviously quite a few books, but this is the only one I've read. But obviously, go look for more for books. Next is A Fire Like You by Upile Chizala. This book was so beautiful. I'm not going to say more because we're going to keep going in circles like this, okay? Next is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I've spoken about that book on this channel before, so you can go and find that video 100%. I think her writing is superb. Everyone should go and pick up her books. End of discussion. Next, another Elizabeth Acevedo book, With the Fire on High. I loved her perspective in this book, and once again, very, very beautiful in terms of like the way that she articulates herself. Very gorgeous. Next is, I think part of me wanted to include this in the nonfiction, but it was a collection of poetry books, and so I had to put this in the poetry section. Now, this is part of a story that started before me. Now, it is a collection of poems by several poets, and it's collected by George the Poet. But honestly, like I said, it's a collection of poems, so you have to go in the poetry section. It was amazing because every single person has a different voice, so to be able to see how they interpret the world as Black people was amazing. So genuinely go and pick up that book because they speak about a variety of topics, but obviously they speak about a variety of topics concerning race as well. And so I think everyone should pick this up and really just take in the words that they're saying and genuinely think on them. Like, don't just read for, oh, it sounds pretty. Like, literally listen to what they're saying. And it's so gorgeous. It's so beautiful and so rich and in depth. Honestly, one of my favorite collections of poetry ever. Next is Whiskey Mind, Sober Heart by R.H. Sine. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I hope I am. But this is one of the books where they have such simple poems that strike a chord that is so powerful, and I love it. The next is I Hope This Reaches Her in Time, and once again, same thing, but I felt like I think this targeted more of your vulnerable side, especially as a woman. So fell in love. Loved it so much. Do go pick it up 100%. I don't know if they've released any new books. I haven't heard any news because last time I checked I was subscribed to any announcements, but I haven't heard anything, and I feel like that's weird. So maybe I accidentally turned it off. Either way, great books. Now we are going to go to the thriller, horror, supernatural, and paranormal genre, okay? I have to put it all there because sometimes some of these books cross multiple genres, but they stay within the four. And so obviously I'm going to just put them all in this category. So obviously you might hear a book and you're just like, that's more supernatural. Yeah, it's all in this category. So thriller, horror, supernatural, and paranormal. Most of them are strictly thrillers, but there are some like supernatural and horror and paranormal books, or probably one of each in there, but most of them are like mainly strictly thrillers. Let's get into it. Okay, first, They're Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. I'm pretty sure I've done a review of this, maybe not on my YouTube, but definitely on my TikTok. Amazing. Next, The Blonde Dies First, also by Joelle Wellington. This is her more recent book release. She's great at like intense scenes. Like, I love her. Like, the thrill is really thrilling in her books. Next, You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Bayron. This is more of the supernatural thriller side. So fair warning, very, very short, really good. Next is Black Queen by Jumata Emil. Loved it. Next is The Other Black Girl by Zakiya Dalila Harris. Now, I know this book has some mixed reviews, so be warned, you might not like it. That's all I'm going to say. Next is Ace of Spades by Farida Abike Imide. Intense and even a bit scary. full thriller, 100% full thriller, but whew. Next is Where Sleeping Girls Lie, also by Farida Abike Imide. This one, it had more of an eerie vibe to it. Still a thriller, but eerie. Next is The King is Dead by Benjamin Dean. Fair warning, I've not read this, but the premise sounds really, really fun. So very much excited to read it. And I do have it, so I've heard good things, so very excited to read that. Next is Thieves Gambit by Kavion Lewis. This is like a spy thriller, but like a spy thriller. This was fun. I thought it was absolutely creative as well. And the way that they ended that first book, I said, oh, we about to have some fun going forward. Now, the sequel to this book is not out yet, but it's going to come out. It is called Heist Royale. So obviously also by Kavion Lewis. And when I tell you I'm super excited, extremely excited, I need it immediately. Next, this is more of a paranormal type of thriller. Now, this is The Taking of Jake Livingston by Ryan Douglas. I was pleasantly surprised by this book simply because the take on the supernatural, the paranormal, was a different way to what I'm used to, as in the way that they explain ghosts and how it works. I haven't heard it explained in that way, or I haven't heard it approached in that way before, so I actually really enjoyed this book. I was pleasantly surprised. Now, that is it for our thriller, supernatural, paranormal, horror type of vibe. So now we're going to the main event. I say main event because this is literally my primary genre aside from thrillers, and it even surpasses thrillers. I've read more fantasy books than I've read thrillers, 100%. I'm reading more thrillers now in this day and age, like in this year, but I still haven't surpassed the amount of fantasy books I've read in my lifetime. But it is what it is. So I have quite a few recommendations. I've not read all of them. You guys have been warned. And because there are so many, I think there are about 80 in here. Just know, we're just going to have to go through the list. If there's a book that really, really stands out and I have to make a commentary, I will. But we're just going to be listing them out, okay? So get your pens ready. Be pausing the video if you need to. Let's get into it, okay? That Self-Same Metal by Brittany Williams. Premise is amazing. Time is amazing. Cool. Sleep Like Death by Kaylin Barron. Like, she's taking these retellings, she's taking them by storm, and you gotta love her. Dazzling by Chikodil Emulumadu. Please forgive me for the poor pronunciation. Please. It was an amazing fantasy. Anyway. Okay. The Blood Trials by N.E. Davenport. The Blood Gift by N.E. Davenport. If anyone knows me, they know this is one of my favorite series ever. And I was so sad that it ended and we didn't get a third book. It ended well. Fair warning, yeah. It ended well, but it was more like an open ending. So if you don't really like those, just be warned. But it doesn't take away from the fact that the book was amazing and it addressed so many things. Like, pick it up. I don't care. Pick it up. Sorry, that was one of the books where commentary was necessary. Next, Kingdom of Souls by Rena Barron. Now, the next book is the second book, Reaper of Souls, obviously by Rena Barron. Bells by Danielle Clayton. The second book in the series, The Everlasting Rose, also obviously by Danielle Clayton. And the third in the series, The Beauty Trials. This one, I feel like this is one of those fantasies that you have to read the series just because, like, it's one of those issues that is, like, prevalent in this day and age, the whole beauty and stuff like that. So I feel like the take was really nice and obviously very, very creative. So pick it up. Next, When We Were Birds by Ayana Lloyd Banwo. I will say I've heard great things. I still haven't read it yet, but it's definitely top of my list. Next, Rapunzel or Don't Touch My Hair by Ella McLeod. Honestly, I love her storytelling. I feel like she's so fun. Next is also by Ella McLeod. It's a different series completely. Well, a different book completely. So it's not the same series, just the same author. And that is The Map That Led Me to You. This was about like sirens and mermaids. Like, it was super cute, super fun. I love anything to do with water. I'm very much aware of this. I love anything to do with under the ocean, mermaids. I don't know. I've just always loved stories of that nature. So it was no surprise that I was finna eat it up and gobble it up like it was the best chocolate ever. And it was. Next, oh my, okay, so this is a recent release. It is The Empire Wars by Akana Phoenix. Now she is so sweet. She contacted me, and this the book was, well, I got a digital copy, and she even gave me a book box, which I am going to be doing a, a proper like book reveal very soon. Well, a book box reveal and a full review of her book very soon. Honestly, I'm terrible with my timing, but just know there are definitely some triggers in this book. But from the very first page, the intensity is there. Like from the very first page, I could feel the anger, and it was well deserved, well earned anger. Like the book was, and if you know me, you know that I love a book with more than one perspective. And the way me and Ife, like I love Ife so much. Like when you guys get to it, you're going to see. But Ife was one of my favorite people in this entire book. I said, "Oh, baby girl, okay, just wait till you pick it up, because you're gonna pick it up, okay? You're gonna pick it up. Go and pick it up, 100%. Okay, so sorry. Once again, some things just have to be commented on. The next is Tinderbox by W.A. Simpson. And then the second book is called Tarotmancer, also obviously by W.A. Simpson. This one I think is one of the more, the series I believe is called The Riven Isles. I think it's one of the more creative fantasy books currently. I feel like it's so underrated. I feel like the world building was super cool. The magic system I thought was super cool. I like there are so many books that I'm just like, you're underrated, but that's because people aren't speaking about you, but you're so good. Go and pick up Tinderbox and Tarotmancer. Go and pick it up. End of story. Now let's continue. The next book here. Oh, The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. Obviously, the second book is The Merciless Ones by Namina Forna, and the third one, The Eternal Ones by Namina Forna. This one, Decca and the crew, Decca and the gang. Oh, it's the way that everything developed and everything was unveiled and revealed. Like I think that, and then like at the end of the second book, you kind of defeated a big bad that you thought was a big bad, but then you really, oh guys, get onto it. You don't understand how long I waited for that third book. So when the third book was finally released, thank God. But yeah, get into that series. The series was really fun. Next, next was a book that I'm just like, I feel like everyone, if you like Game of Thrones, if you like high fantasy, if you like political intrigue and like a great magic system, you have to pick up this book. And that is The Rage of Dragons by Edmund Winters. And obviously, The Fire of Vengeance, which is the second book in the series by Edmund Winters. Also, I will say that I don't know if you follow this booktuber, but Smitty, he's a great booktuber, and he actually had an interview with you don't understand. Smitty, if you ever see this video, just know I'm jealous of you. I am fully jealous of you. Like I'm jealous. He also has amazing reviews. He just seems like a very like chill, just super cool dude with great reviews, and he reads great books. His book taste, from what I've seen so far, is immaculate. So Smitty, if you ever see this video, big ups. Absolutely love you. Evan Winter, your writing is amazing, and Smitty will tell you all about it, because he raved about it just the way that we have all raved about it. So Rage of Dragons. Yeah, that I feel like that's one of those books that if you're a fantasy reader, if you're going to read a fantasy book, that you have to read it. Like it's one of those like I don't think I'm giving you a choice here. In a very like non-threatening way. I'm so sorry. Okay, but yeah, definitely go and pick it up. It's great. Next, The Bones of Ruin by Sarah Raleigh. This was cool. It was like, I like the premise. It had to do with dance. Like, it was super cool. And, like, like, it was super cool. Next is African and Caribbean Folktales, Myths, and Legends by Wendy Shearer. As someone who was raised in the Caribbean, I love our folktales. I feel like ours are so creative. Like, if you grew up in the Caribbean, you know about Anansi, and you really know about things stories that you don't really hear told in, like, literature or just outside of your country. And so, if you want to learn more about our folktales and our lore, then definitely be sure to pick that up. Ooh, next is definitely one that I love. It is a standalone, but great world building, great story, and it just got released. Well, recently got released, and that is Goddess Crown by Shade Lapite. I don't know if it's Lapite or Lapite, but I feel like it's Lapite. Yeah, great book. Next, now this is also a recent read, but I haven't read it, but it looks amazing, and that is Shigide by Wole Talabi. The premise sounds insane, as in like amazing. So yeah. Next is A Phoenix First Must Burn, and it's a collection of stories, and it's edited by Patrice Caldwell. Next is an amazing series. So it's 3 books, and it's by Ayana Gray. If you know, you know. So the first book is Beast of Prey. Like, her world building is insane. The first book is Beast of Prey. Second book is Beast of Ruin, and it all came to a head in Beast of War. Haven't completed the series, but when I tell you from the first book, her world building is insane. Great storytelling. Next is Escaping Altetza by D'Artagnan Johnson. Now, this is insane because this was a prequel, but the way I am so ready to pick up the next in the series, I haven't yet, but that's because I am very much a procrastinator, and I'm kind of nervous because of the way that the prequel ended. Like, it was sad. Like, it was insane. Like, it was intense. But yeah, for a book that was like 90 pages and really, really thin, whoa, you packed in a lot. You packed in a punch. Next, Blood Scion by Deborah Falaye. Everyone knows it's one of my favorites. Now, I got really hyped up because basically the second book is War Widow, but I've been waiting for the second book to be released for literal years, and the date keeps getting pushed back, and I know that publishing can be kind of chaotic, so I'm just like, please, can it actually be released in 2025 like it said it's going to be released? I've been desperate. I have. Next is Son of the Storm by Sui Davies Okunboa. Once again, any bad pronunciation, I'm so sorry. Yeah, once again, another book, and I feel like this book was, yeah, once again, great plot, great story. There's so much to say, I just can't. The second book is Warrior of the Wind by Sui Davies, obviously Okunboa. Haven't completed the series, so can't tell you anything. Next, Savage City by L. Penelope. This, I would have been like, mad premise, as in like, ooh. The second book, Beastly Kingdom by L. Penelope, and the final book, I believe it's the final book anyway, is Brutal Fortress. Now, the next book is more of a sci-fi book, so I forgot to say that these are like fantasy sci-fi books. So sorry, I forgot to mention fantasy sci-fi books. But yeah, the next book is I think it's more like sci-fi, but I love the message in this book, and I love the journey and the adventure in this book. It is Where It Rains in Color by Denise Crittenden. Like I said, loved it. The next book is A Cry to War by E.O. Odiase and K.N. Punpum. Haven't read it, but it looks absolutely amazing. That one I can say, like, I know a good book. I can, you guys trust me, I know a good book. And then the second book in the series is A Dance for the Gods, once again, by E.O. Odiase and K.N. Punpum. The next book, also haven't read, but the premise sounds like intense. It seems like very much is going to be lots of battles and insane battles at that. And that is Adangara. It is by Avosuahi Bello. The next book, oh my goodness, one of my faves that I read last year. Was it last year? I believe it was last year. Forged by Blood by Ehibor Okusun. And the second book is literally coming out this week. So I'm super excited to get into that. It is Exiled by Iron. Now, if you saw how the first book ended, so if you read the first book, then you know why I'm excited for the second book, because the first book, yeah. Next, Bacchanal by Veronica Henry. Now, if you're from the Caribbean like me, Bacchanal has already, put something up in your brain, so you know it's going to be very, very fun, or, yeah, it's for the culture, basically. The next, A River of Royal Blood by Amanda Joy. Haven't read it, but it looks super cool because it's about like sisterly battles, and I'm super excited for that. I love a fight for the throne at all times. And the second book in the series is A Queen of Gilded Horns. Now, the next one looks absolutely stunning. Like, yeah, 100%. The Siren's Call by Alana Williams. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Alana, I believe. Alana Williams. Yeah, so do be sure to pick that up. Next is a trilogy. That is Void by Tiffany A. Joyson? It looks French to me. But yeah, let's go with Joyson or Joyson, one of them. The second book in the series is Vessel, and the third book in the series is Victor. So get the entire set. I'm a babe who gets the entire set before reading it, 100%, or at least after reading the first book. Now, the next one is House of Marian by J.L. Now, if you like secret societies in schools and like just mysteries in fantasy books, then pick it up. The next book, oh my goodness, the next book is by one of the queens of fantasy, the Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler, and obviously it's The Parable of the Talents, also by Octavia Butler. I don't have to say much. She's queen, pick it up. The next book, The First Woman by Jennifer Nansubunga Makumbi. I did my best. Haven't fully gotten through it, but I feel like this is one of those, from what I've gotten through so far, it's very like a slow build, but it's definitely going to lead to like a bang. Like that's the sense that I'm getting. The next, Blood Debts by Terry Benton Walker. If you're looking for a book to stress you out, just go and pick it up. Just family drama as well. Good luck. Oh, the stress. Good, but stress. The second book, Blood Justice, obviously by Terry Benton Walker. The next book, another queen of fantasy, N.K. Jemisin, The City We Became, followed by the second book in the series, The World We Make. Once again, world building out of this world. Like, people who can world build, I will always respect, because I just feel like that's a talent. Like, it is a talent, but I'm just like, it's an insane talent. Like, whoa. But yeah, let's continue. The next, one of my all-time favorites, I've said this 100 times, Skin of the Sea by Natasha Bowen. Oh, so good. And the second book, Soul of the Deep, it was shorter, but yet, yeah. Oh, guys, gonna pick it up. I can't. We're gonna be here forever, because we still have a lot of books to go through. Next is We Are the Origin by C.M. Lockhart. Guys, I won't lie to you. Queendom, and so much going on. I haven't even read this book yet, but when I tell you, I usually pick up a book by a pretty cover, and the cover snatched me, but also the premise sounds absolutely insane. So it definitely is one of like my priority reads that I'm going to read. And the second book in the series is We Are Dying Gods, obviously, of course, by C.M. Lockhart. Let's continue, guys. Now, I've raved about this book for time and time. Like, so everyone, yeah, you wouldn't even be surprised that I'm recommending this. The Final Strife by Sarah El Arifi. World building, storytelling, plot, characters, everything. I'm so sorry. The second book, The Battle Drum, because the way the first book ended, no one was prepared. And then the third book, The Ending Fire. I haven't completed the series yet, but I'm scared, to be honest. The Ending Fire, obviously, of course, by Sarah El Arifi. Now, the next book, Master of Jinn by P. Jelly Clark. Mystery. Yeah, it's a lot going on in this book. But yeah, get into it. Next book, next series, one of my favorite series. First book is Daughters of Nri by Rennie K. Amayo. Like, I forever love this book. The next book is Descendants of the First, and the way that they were bringing everything together and revealing everything. But the way it ended, I was just like, there must be a third book, and I've been begging for it. Like, Rennie, if you ever come across this video, please, is there going to be a third book? Are we going to get it? Please release it. I'm so sorry. I'm begging you. You can't leave us there. You can't. I'm so sorry. It ended good, but it also ended like, not even open ending. That was like it was open ending mystery. Guys, there's too much. I'm so sorry. I don't want to keep you guys. Let's not do this. Let's not do this now. We can discuss another time. Next, Ballad and Dagger by Danielle Jose Older. I'm trying to find words to describe it because it's good, but like, guys, it's too much. It's too much. Go pick up the book. I'm so sorry. And then the second book, Last Canto of the Dead, once again by Danielle Jose Older. Haven't finished the series. Can't tell you anything about it. Next book, insane. I've not read it, but it's been on my list for ages. Don't judge me. Rosewater by Tay Thompson, especially because I've heard it's an amazing series, so I need to do better. Rosewater by Tay Thompson. The second book is The Rosewater Insurrection, obviously by Tay Thompson, and I was just like, an insurrection? Oh, I gotta read this. I love me a bit of rebellion. I love me, like, you know, that's well-deserved, and obviously I'm always on the right side, which is usually the rebellious side. Oh, well. Okay, the next book is another queen of sci-fi, I would say. Sci fantasy? Anyway. And that is Nnedi Okorafor. So, Who Fears Death? Shadow Sister. So, Shadow Sister, I believe, is a new book. I don't know if I just got it, and that's why I think it's new. I don't know if it's been released for ages, but to me, I just got it. So, I think it's a new book. Anyway, next is a book that's been on my list to read, and I'm so excited because it's giving like space opera, and I'm a nerd. I love me my I love me my Star Wars. I love my Star Trek. You know, I'm loving me my Zelda. So give me all the space opera you can find, and that is The Principle of Moments by Evme Jikini Pearson. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I feel like I did. But yeah, like the plot is giving, or at least the synopsis is giving space opera. So yeah, I'm fully ready to get into it. Next is Ray Bear by Jordan Ifueko. Now, this book is, I think, one of the best books in world building, but in terms of like the way that the society is built, in terms of like, you'll get it when you get it. Haven't finished the series. The second book in the series is Redemptor, obviously by Jordan Ifueko. Get it. Next book is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I believe it's even getting a series, which is really exciting because everything in here was fire. Everything in here, everybody in here was fire too. So let's get into it. The second book in the series, Children of Virtue and Vengeance, and the third book in the series, which just got released, so hasn't been touched, is Children of Anguish and Anarchy. Obviously, Tomi Adeyemi, you're a queen. We love you. Next, this series I put last because I'm just like, I don't even think I need to put it in a list of books that you should read, because when people think of Black authors, I feel like most people are just aware of this book, especially if you're in fantasy, YA fantasy, and I feel like you already know where I'm going, guys. Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. Let's be real, like, you guys should have known where this is going. Legendborn, like, looking for a Black fantasy, Legendborn. The second book, obviously, is Bloodmarked. And the third book, which is being released, I believe, next year, Oathbound. Super exciting because the way that the second book ended. Tracy, why'd you do that to us? Why? It's okay, though. I forgive you. Okay, so we have it there. Now, I do have a last recommendation, kind of, for this segment, for the fantasy segment, but I was very conflicted about putting it on here because it's very interesting. This is a topic that I definitely want to discuss on this channel at a later date, and that book is Black Shield Maiden by Willow Smith and Jess Hendel. Now, when celebrities write books, I'm always just like, okay, because I still don't like the whole thing with not even just ghostwriting, but celebrity authored books, with, co-authoring with other writers. Obviously, the other writer gets their credit as well. But part of me is just like, did you write, or like, did you give a premise and then they basically wrote what you were like thinking? Because in that sense, are you the author of this book? Obviously, there's something to be said when it comes to like autobiographies and memoirs and stuff like that, because they fully acknowledge I'm not a writer, I have a story to tell. But here it's a case of, I don't know. So I was conflicted about this. I was just like, especially because if she didn't like write the book, Jess Hendel is a white woman, like, nothing against her, like, that is completely fine. But I'm just like, if the Black woman herself didn't write the book, then should they be included in this list? But like I said, I don't know the extent of Willow's role in this book itself, so I don't know how much she like actually wrote, if she actually wrote. And so I was very, very conflicted. I haven't read it yet. It was gifted to me. I haven't read it yet. It sounds super exciting, 100%, and I actually very much do want to read it. But yeah, so I was conflicted about putting it on the list, but because I haven't read it, I haven't done like research into like the writing, like who did the writing and stuff like that. Yeah. So when you are picking this up for Black History Month, obviously I listed literally like 82 other books before it. Maybe consider them first, because at least with those ones, I can confirm that those people wrote their book. That's all I'm saying. But, Willow is a Black woman. She's authored a book. She's authored a book. I don't know if she's written the book, but I know she's authored a book. So we can't, I'm definitely going to put her on this list, Go and support a Black woman, 100%. Now let's go into the next segment. Guys, we're almost done. I'm so sorry for keeping you. I really am so sorry for keeping you. I really said this video was going to be 15 minutes. So, I didn't expect I would lie so much. I'm so sorry. Okay, next is, it's YA. Now, I didn't know where to put it, so I was just like, it's a YA book, but I'm just like, you're not really a fantasy book. You're not a thriller, not really. So I was just like, I'm just going to keep you in just YA, like just YA fiction straight. And that is Slay by Brittany Morris. This is one of those books where I wish I read it when I was younger, because I'm just, I felt so inspired. Like, seeing a young black girl like do as much as she's done and then take charge, especially like when the tables have turned and now people are now a gangster and she has to now defend something that's so important to her and where she's created a space. Like if you read it, you know. And I was just like, I wish I read it. I'm just like, maybe I would have been a tech, like, I am a tech girly to be fair, but I'm just like, maybe I would have been like an insane hacker, like, you know, like I could hack the systems of the world and all that, and like I could create a game, you know, that type of hacking. Like I am an analyst, you know, so that's my extent of techie. But I would have loved to be a game developer. So I wish I read this when I was younger and it inspired me to be a game developer. Because I read this and I'm just like, I would love to have designed a game. But anyway, let's go for it. The next segment that we're going to is middle grade. Now, I've spoken on this channel about how within from last year, I started reading way more middle grade books, fell in love with them because the stories were good, the plots were good, but like they didn't stress me out as much. And even when they stressed me out, I didn't lose as much as I did reading like YA and adult. Like they'd just be killing everybody in YA and adult books. If someone dies in middle grade, like it's like 1 out of like 5 books. YA be killing like 85 people in the first 50 pages. I just can't. Like you're a YA book. Stop it. I love it still. But yeah, so here are the middle grade books by Black authors that are absolutely amazing. These cover such like a range of topics as well because they're just great. And they're also a range of ages, I would say. Some of them I'm just like, is it middle grade or is it younger? But I'm including it anyway. Okay, I'll let you know though. So now this first series is definitely for the more younger side. I'm just like, this is definitely maybe for like, yeah, maybe 6 to 7 year olds. But this is why I love middle grade or why I love books in general. You can read anything and still find value in it, especially if it's written well. And that series is the Yomi series. So the first book is Yomi in the Fury of the Ninki Nanka, and obviously it's by Davina Tijani. And the second book in the series is Yomi in the Power of the Yumbos, once again, Davina Tijani. And the third book, Yomi in the Curse of the Groot Slang. Now that's the most recent one. And reason why I love this series is because it gives you an appreciation for a culture that you're not that familiar with. I was just like, I've obviously heard of the Gambia, and obviously these are, you know, they're talking about mythology in these books, but then I guess it just gives you, yeah, it just makes you curious about like their culture or even like, yeah, their lore and stuff like that. So, and their mythology. And I really kind of like the storytelling, and it had pictures. You know, sometimes, yes, I'm an adult, but sometimes I need a picture book, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy Yami's adventures. I love her. Her little brother, I love him. Okay, let's continue. Next is a book that has taken the world by storm, and I love that. And that is Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. And then the second book in the series is Amari and the Great Game by B.B. Alston. And when I tell you this now, I've not read the books. Don't judge me. So sorry, don't judge me. I obviously know it's taking the world by storm, but I was just like, I kind of want the series to end, and I'm going to tell you why by giving you the example of the next book. So the next book, not in this series, but the next book in the middle grades are the Oyenka series. So the first book is Oyenka in the Academy of the Sun, and this is by Tola Okogu. The second book is Oyenka in the Rise of the Rebels, Tola Okogu. And the third book, Oyenka in the Heroes of the Dawn. I read the first book. Loved it. And I didn't have to wait that long for the second book. I think it was releasing right when I finished the first book. So I read, or like soon after. So I read the second book. I had to wait ages for the third book. And I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Like the second book, luckily the second book ended well, but there was more adventure and you knew that. And I don't like waiting, guys. It stresses me out. Like waiting after the first book was hard because the first book, the way that first book ended, it was like, wait. Obviously, it's middle grade, so I obviously knew, or I could suss out what was going to happen. But I was still just like, well, I want to know what's going to happen next. And so with Amari, I'm very much aware that this series is running. And so part of me is like, I don't want to suffer. I know that the third book is out. Like, I definitely know it's out. But part of me is just like, so what exactly is this the last book? Should I finally start it? But I also, it looks so fun and I want to be a part of it. So I definitely am going to try and read at least the first book this year. But yeah, Those books, absolutely amazing. So do be sure to pick those up. The next is a duology. Love it. The first book is The Marvelous by Danielle Clayton. This is amazing. Like, this book, I loved it. I'm just like magical school in the sky, like tackles so many issues, guys. It's so much fun. The characters are level so good. The second book, The Memory Thief. Guys, I have so much to say. I wish I could do a full review. I don't, but I'm already running along. I'm so sorry. Okay, the next book is The Elemental Detectives by Patrice Lawrence. I love this because I'm just like, I love anything, any magic system that has like, distinct categories, but then like very, very creatively. Like, obviously there was like its elements, but then it's the way. Oh god, oh, it's so good. Okay, pick it up. Ugh. Okay, and then the second book, I'm sorry guys, I feel like I'm losing my mind now. The second book is obviously The Elemental Detectives, The Case of the Chaos Monster. But yeah, guys, go pick up these books. I feel like I'm losing my mind, getting excited, but being frustrated that I can't go into more detail. Let's continue. The next book, Nick Blake and the Remarkables by Angie Thomas. This was super fun. Oh my goodness, this was super fun. And I love her. I love her so much. And I love the story in this book. The next book is so funny. Okay, the next book is Rayleigh Mann in the Company of Monsters by Kianan Smart. Now, I always struggle to say this name. So please forgive me. But yeah, I have the name here. But I love this so much. Rayleigh is a menace. You know kids who are kind of just like I'm trying to figure out who I can compare him to, but he was so fun. I love him so much, but it's kind of just like, you know what? You're just a troublemaker, but I love it so much for you and for me reading you. So yeah, definitely do be sure to pick that up. Speculation by Nisi Shawl is the next book. Speculation by Nisi Shawl. I thought this was super creative. I thought the magic system here was super creative, especially how they connected it to history. And then I thought the end was a bit rushed, especially how we got to the resolution. But this is like a kid's book, so I was just like, okay, fair. But I thought it was good. The next is The Jumbies by Tracy Baptiste. Guys, I thought this was another like homage, I guess, to like my roots. So I was just like, oh, I have to get this book. And then I only found out recently that it was a series. So I'm just like, so there are more books in there? Anyway. But yeah, the second book is Rise of the Jumbies, and the third book is The Jumbi God's Revenge. Guys, I was so shocked. I said, no one told me there was another book on here. So it's really hard when you're not like up to date with certain things, because then you find out that there are other books later on, especially because you're just like, there should be another book, but then you didn't hear about it. And the last book in the middle grade section is Eden's Everdark by Karen Strong. This I think this book was so great, and I think definitely for kids, for like younger, for kids and like just people who, young people, a book like this is great because it addresses grief, and I think being exposed to that at a young age, not like in real life. God forbid, I don't wish that for anyone to have to, know how to deal with grief, but yeah, being exposed to it, the possibility of it, what will happen afterwards, like how to deal with the emotions. I thought it was beautifully written, and it addressed that topic really well. So really, really nice. That is the end for our middle grade section. Now, guys, we're going to go on to romance, and we're almost done. I promise you, and I'm so happy. Thank you so much for sticking by. And I hope you guys have been taking notes and have been writing these books down. Okay. So romance, I feel like most of you guys know I don't read much romance. And so this section is very limited. I tried my best. I really tried my best. It's very limited. There's no one there. Okay. So, the first book here is You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akweke Imezi. The girlies who know. The boys who know. I think this is actually one of my very, very first, if not my first book on YouTube, like my first book review on YouTube, or my first video on YouTube. I actually need to look back, but yeah, so if you want the review on this, it was more of a review rant, but if you want that, scroll all the way back. But I'm looking back, I'm just like, oh my goodness, yeah, this is literally when you first started on YouTube. And I feel like it's what motivated me, because I was just like, oh, I gotta speak about this. But yeah, drama, messy. If you with the mess, you with it. Now, the next is The Davenports by Crystal Marquis. You guys, I feel like if you like romance, you should know this. Like, the romance book taking everyone by storm, the Black Bridgertons. No. These people are better. So sorry about it, okay? There's nothing left to say. A bit messy. Love it. Next is Until I Met You by Amber Rose Gill. I was just like, this was such a cute little romance. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I was just like, y'all, this is unnecessary drama, some of y'all, but I liked it. And next is a book I haven't read because, like I said, I don't automatically flock to romance, but I've heard the reviews, especially from people who I respect. And yeah, they said this book is all that in a bag of chips. And that is Love in Color by Bolu Babalola. I've heard good things, so you guys better go and pick it up. But that's it for romance, guys. I'm so sorry, but that's the best I can do. I do not read romance. Someone can help you somewhere. It's just not going to be me. Next, we have our contemporary fictions. Now, guys, even contemporary fiction, I don't read that much, but I'm starting to like it more. So I might be reading more contemporary fiction, when time comes, as time goes on, to be fair. So I don't have much, but I'm getting into it. Okay. First, this one, I think this is the one that really told me, you need to read more just regular fiction. Take the fantasies out. Just read fiction. And that is Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad by Damilare Kuku. If you've read the book, just even the title should tell you messiness. So much fun. So much fun. The next is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. Now, I've had this book for ages, but I'm very terrified to read it because I read the premise, and the premise shows like there's going to be so much like heaviness, so much things to confront, and I'm just like, oh, please, I like problems, but not this type of problem. Please, in this instance, I will choose peace. But yeah, I heard that her books are like that, and which is why even her second book, I'm just like, I'm not too sure, and that is The Mothers by Britt Bennett. Now, I can't even remember this plot, but I just remember it once again. Even the plot stressed me out, and so I was just like, I'm not going to pick you up just yet. But eventually I have to. I know. I am going to eventually. I hope. Okay. Next is Yinka, Where Is Your Husband by Lizzie Damilola Blackburn. I love this because I was just like, as someone, in her 20s, and like, it's just so relatable. I feel like if you're in your 20s, especially if you were raised in certain cultures, Caribbean cultures, African cultures, you kind of just know. You know where it's at. You know where it's at. Even the title of the book and the way husband is spelled, you already knew the vibe. And it's so relatable, but also it starts lighthearted and then it starts addressing like so many issues, and some issues are heavier than others. But then I'm just like, it addresses them so well. So genuinely, go and get into it. Next, How Beautiful We Were by Mbolo Mbwe. I haven't read this book, but it's at the top of my list. Yeah, it's at the top of my list. Put it at the top of yours. End of discussion. Next is Queenie by Candice Cardi Williams. Just be prepared to be so upset, as in like, if you like books where the main character kind of ticks you off, yeah, have fun. I have to warn you guys. I have to warn you. Next is Black Buck by Mateo Oscar Report. Now, I appreciate storytelling, and this was great storytelling in terms of like, it's like great writing. I appreciate that. Like very enjoyable. Like you can turn the page and really kind of just, you can have a day with this book essentially. Like just like going through it. Pick it up. And lastly, and this is our very last recommendation of the day, guys. I can't believe it, but I'm super, super happy about it. And this is Girl, Woman, Other by Bernadine Evaristo. I've not read it, but I've heard great things about it. Once again, guys, I do not read as much contemporary fiction, and these aren't all the contemporary fiction books I own, obviously, but, these are the Black authors, because remember, that's the point of today's video. But that is it for today, guys. I hope that you found at least one book, at least 5 books that you're just like, I want to read, even if like the title itself, or like maybe just the genre is your genre, and so you're going to look into it, because obviously I didn't describe every book, but yeah, I hope that you found a book to go and pick up to support like the Black authors during this Black History Month. Now, for those of you who might be confused, because this is October, this is the UK. It's Black History Month in the UK. We don't celebrate it in February. And honestly, guys, do be sure to go and support these authors. Like you've heard, like most of these books I've picked up and I loved so much. And for the ones I haven't, like these are recommendations that I've received. I've heard good reviews and I very much trust these reviews. And so I am positive that they will give a good experience. But you know, everyone has different tastes, so it might not, but for the most part, I'm positive that they will. But yeah, I did not, I should have expected that this video was going to be an hour long. I am so, so sorry that it was. I was really hoping I could go through it in 15-20 minutes. I definitely tricked myself. I'm so sorry. But yeah, here we are, guys. I'm so happy that I can give you guys all of these recommendations. Like, I'm hoping to give like more in-depth reviews with time, 100%. But once again, yeah, this is what I have. Now, as I end, I just have to say, like, I've spoken about diversity and the importance of diversifying your shelves and actually, you know, supporting marginalized authors so many times. I don't feel like I have to keep saying it because I'm just like, at this point, I'm a broken record. But it's so important, guys. So do please support. Let me know as well, like, have you read many of these books? Any of these books? Are you encouraged to go and read some of these books? Are you definitely going to buy some? Which ones are you going to buy? Also, remember, this is not an exhaustive list, guys. This is not like, come on, guys. This is only 140 something books. It's not an exhaustive list. But like, this is the ones I currently, you know, I'm currently aware of or I currently read. Like, what other ones do you think I should read, especially in the genres that you know I like? So thriller and fantasy. Black authors, please. Like, this video is about Black authors, so if it's anything else, save that for another video. But Black authors, like, do you know of like something that you think I should read by a Black author? Like, you think, oh my goodness, you would love this? Let me know. And oh my goodness, if there's any authors here and you saw your book being mentioned, hi. If there's any authors here and you didn't see your book being mentioned, so sorry. Let me know what your book was. Let me know what your book was. Because even now I'm thinking, I feel like I have more books by Black authors that I just didn't mention. But I used my spreadsheet to compile this list because I have like filters on my spreadsheet to be like authors of color, so I was able to like find it very easily. But I am very much aware that I haven't updated my spreadsheet, so that might be on me. But hopefully I can obviously keep, you know, doing recommendation videos, and for the books that I haven't mentioned, I can mention in another video, in another day, another year. Like, I am going to keep telling you guys about books that you need to read, so no need to fret, no need to kind of come after me, but do obviously just let me know. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys found books, and I hope you have a good day. But yeah, that's it from me. Bye.